Hi. I have deep memories of having lived on a hill like this. I was a little kid, but the folks left that hill when I was just a little bitty guy. And now I'm trying to find that hill, trying to find family, my ancestors who live there. I don't know who they are. I'm going to look for them, and I'm going to find them. Once upon a time in America, when my maternal great grandparents, Thomas and Georgiana Hill, my mother's namesake, were born, their childhoods were lathered in the odoriferous mist of chattel slavery, as well as the thoroughly internecine conflagration between the North and South that would end it. When they married over a decade after the Civil War, Thomas and Georgiana had 14 children. Of these 14, I only met one, my great aunt Pinkie Hill Matthews. Aunt Pinkie was born in 1895 on a densely wooded hill in New Kent, a place that by day teemed with nature's pristine beauty, yet turned blacker than 10 midnights, 3 hour hoots after sundown. In this second episode of The Road to New Kent, I call on two of my Hill cousins, elders Bob and Melvin, to help me negotiate these woods in search of our beloved Aunt Pinkie and her little known siblings. We begin with a letter Aunt Pinkie wrote me nearly a half century ago.
This letter is written to Randy Ross from Aunt Pinkie, October the 19th, 1976. Dear Randy, I do hope you are well and doing fine. I am doing fair. Dewdrops and Randall haven't been doing so good. Dewdrop been right poorly, but thank the Lord, the good Lord, that she is feeling much better than she was. Robert's death got all of us down pretty low. I haven't been much good since. But the Lord is good, and He is keeping us in His care, and I thank Him every day of my life. I talked to Goldie yesterday, and she says she is doing fair. Her oldest son, Clarence, carried her to New York for a few days, and it helped her so much, and said she and the family is doing all right. Everybody been so nice to her, she said. She said the people bought her some kind of food since Robert passed. Dewdrop and I carried a big box of food up there the day Robert was buried, so you and all would have plenty to eat that day. We carried 4 chickens and a large bowl of potato salad, 2 lemon pies, 2 loaves of bread. Dewdrop baked a large plain cake that Saturday morning before the funeral service. My Ellen carried a box of chicken. Randall's sister Rosa sent us a box of chicken to help with the dinner up there. So it was plenty food up there. All you had to do is to go to the table and help yourself with the food. I wanted to tell you all what we had done, but I couldn't tell Georgia out there where we was all eating at, because it wouldn't sound nice to tell her where all those people was. You know, Georgia and all the rest never stayed with us when they come home, but they always come to see us. We could have took some of them while they was here, but they did not say they wanted to stay with us. We had plenty of room, and Dewdrop and I had everything nice and clean for them if they wanted to stay. We had just got back from this grocery store. We had not put nothing away, and I guess things did look pretty rough. We don't have no fine house, but we keep everything nice and clean. The rent is so high everywhere, so we mix out here anytime any of you want to spend some time with us. You are welcome. We will be glad to have you. I talked to Harry today. He said he is doing pretty good. Dewdrop and Randall send their best love to you and your girlfriend. Give my love to her. We think she is a lovely girl. I did the best I can on all these names. I hope you can understand them and fix them like you want them. With lots of love from your loving Aunt Pinkie H. Matthew. Let me know if you receive this letter, please.
So Mrs. Pinkie Hill Matthews, daughter of the late Thomas Hill and Georgiana Hill, was born on April 17, 1895 in New Kent County, Virginia. She departed this life on Wednesday, October 3rd, 1990, after lengthy illness. She was a faithful member of the Rising Mount Zion Baptist Church, New Kent County, Virginia, where she sang in the choir, taught Sunday school, served as a missionary, deaconess, caretakers club, clerk, and treasurer. Also, she was a member of the Good Samaritan's Lodge. She was united in holy matrimony to the late Cornelius Matthews. They were blessed with two daughters, the late Dewdrop Matthews Williams and Ellen B. Stokes. Sister Pinkie was a kind, loving person, always willing to give a helping hand. She will be greatly missed by everyone who knew her. Bob, let me just start with you a little bit. Say more about that, about the connection with Ellen.
Okay, well, to begin with, we remember grandmother's relatives because we visited Judy. They lived outside of New Kent. And of course, Pinkie was her sister. But we only saw Ellen very occasionally when we could get some, because we didn't have a car, someone to take us out there. And sometimes that was quite an adventure because if you went and the roads had, if it had been rained recently, to me it looked like there would be an even chance that we may or may not make it. And of course, I was like a toddler, and this was not a pleasant experience for me, just to go through those roads. And by the time we got there, I didn't want to see anybody. They would tell me, they would say, come out of the car and let's go see the ladies. I said, I don't want to see the ladies. But eventually I would warm up and I'd go in. And by the time it was time for us to go home again, I would have warmed up and had become very friendly and sociable with Ellen. But those were the only times that I got to see Ellen until they moved to Richmond or outside of Richmond. But,
So why was Ellen living with Aunt Pinkie?
Ellen was living with Aunt Pinkie because at the time of my father's death, my mother was already dead, and my mother had asked my grandmother to take care of us, all right? And she could only take care of two of us. So Aunt Pinkie took care of Ellen. So we were split up in that manner. So of course my mother said I think it was my mother, before my mother died, she asked her to do this. Asked my grandmother, Martha, to take care of us, the two of us, until she came back. Of course, my grandmother said, she said, of course, I'll take care of them, even if you don't come back, I'll take care of them. So that's how we were split. Ellen went to Aunt Pinkie, and she was like an infant. She was like in the
2 years old. I think it's about 13 or 14 months, right?
Yeah, she was before she could walk.
Right.
And the two of us were 2 years. I was 4 years older, and my sister, we were 2 years apart.
Right.
So that's how we.
So your parents died very young, right?
Yeah, they died. They were in their 30s.
And both died from tuberculosis or some form of it?
Yeah, some form of some form of what we now call the diseases associated with tuberculosis.
Right. Let me blow that up a little bit. So here, this is the 1930 census. Can you see this where it says Cornelius Matthews?
Yeah, I see.
And this is Pinkie. That's Cornelius, her husband, right? And there's
Right.
Dewdrop. And Dewdrop is 18 years old. And then there's Ida V. Melvin. She's 16. And there's Lucille Melvin, who's 14.
Yeah.
Melvin, you want to talk about that?
No, well, she was taking care of my mother. I don't really understand the circumstances, how that evolved, but I think there was my grandmother on my mother's side died very young. And I'm not really sure about my mother's father. I think same thing, died very young. So that's when Aunt Pinkie stepped in and took care of my mother.
So this is your mother, Ida Virginia Melvin Tyler, right?
Right.
And she was born about 1914 and lived until 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so here are parents. This is Joanna Hill Melvin. So she was born in 1886 and died in 1920. So she was only about approximately 34 years old.
Exactly. They died very young. Yeah.
And then so this is Joanna Hill Melvin's certificate of death.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she died in just like we said, about 1920, and you see it, tuberculosis of the lungs. Pearl Melvin Watson. That was another one of the children. 1911, 1931.
Dinwiddie.
Yeah, tuberculosis there.
Oh, look at that, another tuberculosis case.
Mm-hmm.
And she was
She
only,
also had manic depressive psychosis. Did you see that?
whoa, look at that. She was only 21 years old.
Yeah.
And tuberculosis, right?
Yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff going on this hillside, man. Yeah. This hillside
It's
is
kind of it's a shame, really. You look at it, maybe
it's
some of this stuff could have been avoided if they had some attention,
right,
medical.
right. And all they had, I guess, the main thing they had was family and support.
Family,
And Aunt Pinkie was like I guess she had a strong constitution, right? So
I would like to introduce my wife Odessa to you. Could you?
Okay.
This is my wife.
Hi.
Of 65 years, Odessa.
Hi, Odessa. How are you?
Hi, hello.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
65 years. God bless you.
Thank you.
When we met, okay, I was still living, well, I was in the service, but my home base was with my grandmother, Martha, who lived in the country down in Bungalow City. All right. So when she would visit me, I would take her to see her when we were together. But when I went overseas to Korea, she would come and visit my grandmother whenever she could. She would take the bus from Washington, D.C. to Richmond, and then get on the Richmond bus and go down 9 Mile Road to stop 20 to get off the bus at stop 20, walk 3/4 of a mile with her suitcase to see me. I'm sorry, to see my grandmother. All right. And then when she got there, she would spend the night or however long she would spend. But of course, that's where the outhouse became one of her one of the requirements. This is how we live, right? It never bothered her. She never said anything about it. She would get on her after a few days, couple of days, I guess, she would get her suitcase packed, get back on the road, walk 3/4 of a mile back to the bus station, take the bus to Richmond, okay, and then take the bus from Richmond to Washington, D.C., back to her home in Washington. So
Wow.
this went on for about 6 months while I was in Korea.
Wow.
So I
Long
just want
story.
you to let you know that she's just,
All right.
yeah, we know about the bachelor.
That's what you call fortitude.
So
That's a good story.
yeah, so that was so the thing about 1940 and all the folks. So you can see though, I mean, in terms of Pinkie, it was the times, I think, you know, it was a time for family to come to the fore, you know, because of the great challenges, the health challenges primarily that would, you know, that confronted probably not only the Hill family, but many other families. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, we got all these entries, but we focused on Pinkie. Let's talk a little bit about yourselves. Bob, if you had 5 minutes to describe your life, you can have more than 5, of course, but I'm just saying if you had 5, you know. But
well, I don't know. I think if I had 5 minutes, I would say that one of the things that I think growing up in the situation where we were in, where we didn't have much except each other, was what prepared me for life. Because no matter what happened, it wasn't going to get any worse. You know, I could only do better. So I didn't think about, you know, all this ancestry stuff, and I only looked ahead. And it's not was because I was ashamed of the future, of the past. I didn't see it as relevant. I didn't ask my grandmother any questions, unfortunately. I wish I had, because she could have told me so much stuff that we could use right now.
right.
It seems like people only get to the position where they have the luxury of thinking about the past when they're comfortable with the present.
Exactly.
I wasn't comfortable with the present for a long time.
Right.
You know, I wanted to, of course, finish high school, but then I wanted to try to get a job. I found out I couldn't get jobs because I would go and they said, no, we don't hire Negroes.
Military piece.
Yeah.
Seems that a lot of family members have had some experience in the military. Like Melvin and Norris talked about military experience. You've talked about it. A lot of the folks in the earlier generations in both World War, you know, Wars 1 and 2, you know, there's a lot, and they got to go overseas. I know Uncle Junius went to Liberia. My father went to Japan, and my grandfather Ed Bassett went to France. You know, it's a lot of this military stuff, and I just I wonder why. I mean, I could understand some of the reasoning behind it, but I heard the stories of like about Devil V. You know, the idea that if Black people or Black men for the most part in those days, you know, were to go to the military, then that would help to improve our lot in American society. This question for you both: did your involvement with the military improve your outlook regarding race relations in America?
No.
No, I don't think so. It, so the benefit for me was the GI Bill, being able to come out and go back to school.
Exactly. And I use that too. Exactly.
So
I see what you're saying.
that's how I went back to Hampton. And by then, we didn't go right away, but Odessa and I, we worked for a couple of years at Fort Eustis, and we did our thing there. It was kind of a technician type thing, which I wasn't satisfied with, working with those kind of people. So, and looking at the equipment that I was working on, I decided rather than to focus on repairing this stuff, I should be in a position to design it. And I decided that after talking to a few of the technical reps that came to look at some of the equipment that we were having trouble with and the kind of people they were hiring just as reps, I said, well, I could do this, so I could move one step further and get into the design spheres. So we just couple of things gave us a little nudge, and I decided that maybe we should take the next step. And interestingly enough, the nudge came when our foreman called us into the area, to the assembly area and gave us a pep talk. And he wanted us to be not too upset, he said, because some fools in Washington are talking about integrating schools. All right. So that was his
1950s, 1950,
was the
1954, right?
1950s.
Yeah.
So I said, maybe we should just decide to move on because we're in this environment. We're not going to realize our dreams.
So let me just let me tell you this thing about go back to the health thing. You know, the one of the stories that I saw was about this Beauty Hazel Lee. So I wanted to go back to that for a moment because that was
Yeah, you had mentioned that earlier.
yeah. I just wanted to before we do anything else. I wanted to, you know, because I know we've been how long have we been here? Like a couple of hours.
Yeah,
Couple
Oh yeah.
let it go soon.
Yeah, so I don't want to exhaust you guys, you know. So I want to make sure we get the Beauty Hazel Lee before we go here. So Beauty, I'll just tell you what it was. You know, I don't have to show you, and I just found it. I don't know why I didn't find it before, but it just popped up. You know, because when you kind of do these searches in Ancestry.com, so I discovered that she died. She was only about 19. She was married, and she had this peritonitis or something, you know, with it's like the lining of the stomach. I think it's peritonitis, or, you know, something like that. And so that's what they said on the death certificate, you know. But it turns out she had a baby 1 month before that, and the baby, I found a death certificate for the baby, and where the name, you know, on the death certificate where it says name, it says dead. You know, took one breath. That's where they had the name, dead, took one breath. And so, you know, that hit me in a powerful way. You know, it's like, you know, the baby took one breath, and that's what the name, dead, took one breath. And I said, we got to find a better name. Yeah. And I said, I started calling the baby Breath, you know, Beauty's Breath. And so I just wanted to, you know, in honor of Beauty, Hazel Lee, and Breath, you know, I thought that we would end this one with, you know, just honoring Beauty, because she was a part of a family, though, that was very difficult health-wise. That's what we know now. That's what we come to discover. That's why we don't know them. And it's going to be hard to know them because of the health challenges that, you know, that they face during that time in the history of our family. All right.